Okay, so I think I got a handle on what it is we're doing here. But this is part two of this piece. I'll explain. I'll explain. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for American Horror Stories. This is season 1, episode 2. This is part 2 of Rubber Whoa Man. Okay, so like I said, I'll explain. I believe the show is actually done basically just like I said before, in a Twilight Zone series type of situation where there are little small stories, and sometimes there's going to be one part, 2 parts to a story, so they'll run together. But the episodes really do stand alone, and they kind of will reach back into the American Horror Story into the bag of tricks, if you will. Okay, so like this story was based around Murder House, but it really had nothing to do with any of the seasons of American Horror Story. It just has to do with some of the groundwork that was laid by American Horror Story, and that's it. But this story right here, the story of Scarlet, is a story all in itself, period. So this is where we are. Now let me tell you, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. If you have not seen the episode, I will ruin it for you right now because I'm going to be talking about what actually went down. So here we go. Okay, so when we come into this, okay, there's this nurse. Now she didn't get stabbed up in her chest, child. Somebody done cut her up in her chest. And we see Paris Jackson. Yes, the Paris Jackson. Michael's daughter. She's tall old thing, honey. But she's looking real cute, and she's walking, and they're playing a little song. She got a switchblade, and I said, girl, she looks dangerous. She looks dangerous. I said, oh, girl, you're in danger. She's following the woman running. Ain't little fat lady. She running. I said, run, bitch, run, honey. She ended up falling over the banister, down the steps, and all of this. And then she made a stupid mistake. I said, now you on the first floor. Why ain't you run on out the door, girl? She done ran down in the basement. I said, dumb bitch, why did you run in the basement? Who does that? Like, who is at someone else's house and run in their basement? I ain't letting you chase me in my own basement. Well, my basement is all finished. But, you know, if you got a house with a spooky basement, I wouldn't let you chase me down into my own basement. I definitely ain't going down into your basement. And when you hit that door, it's all stone. And, baby, I ain't going. You have to get me right there on the steps like they did the black lady, the counselor. You'd have to get me right there at the top of the steps and kick me down. You're not going to chase me down there because I'm not going. So that's that. You would get me up right there in the I'm not going down them steps. I'm not doing it. But anyway, she ran her old ass on down the steps. I said, what the hell is going on here? As soon as she gets to the bottom of the steps, she's like, oh, she thinks she's getting away, honey. And she go to hit that bend. Baby, when I tell you, I said, oh, and the girl's name is Ruby. Ruby is who was chasing her. Honey, she hit that bend, baby. I said, oh, Scarlet, honey. Scarlet has an accomplice, honey. When I tell you Scarlet shanked her penitentiary style, honey, I said, girl, no, no. She tore up. I said, oh, Scarlet. She, real quick, Shake the shit out of her. I said, girl, she got her all in her gut. I said, girl, I bet she made her fart, honey. All that, honey, she fell over on the ground, and they look at her and scored. You know, she liked to do that. She fucked you up, take it, peel her little thing off, and then she. I said, oh, she done got herself an accomplice. That shank girl from penitentiary style. I said, this is too much. This is too much. That's the beginning. Then we go right into the, I've done already told y'all, I love the opening. The intro is everything to me with the latex and all that. So we will go into that with the original American Horror Story music. Love it. But anyway, so then we see this whole little lesbianism bathroom scene, honey, this little bath scene. And Ruby is in the tub with Scarlett, and she's basically telling Scarlett her story about how she basically had there's a guy, an Uncle Tony, he adopted her, and she was young girl. He adopted her, and he ended up being pretty abusive. She had marks on her back. He's real sadistic. And he was doing things to her, which was terrible because she was just a young girl. And then she said on her 16th birthday, he basically told her he had a big surprise for her. He drove her out, still in the same town, but basically out to the desert. And she said she thought he was going to take her out to the desert and just kill her, because of all the abuse that she had endured over the years. There was this little sadistic abuse that he had been putting upon her. Some hot ass mess. But she's 16, takes her out there, and what he does is takes her to this little apartment complex, and they sitting there, and he's all happy watching as he revealed that her parents were never dead at all. Her parents were right there. They literally, basically sold. They're like junkies or something, and has sold her to him. Knew that he was a fuck boy. Has sold her to him. Just screwed up, just horrible. And now I guess they done got themselves together, and they living a regular little life in the same town, and just act like none of that ever happened. So what ended up happening after that? She had came to the murder house, wrote a letter, and basically committed suicide inside of the house. And what she was ended up doing, she was trying to talk. She done fell in love with Scarlett. They having a whole lesbian relationship, and she's trying to talk Scarlett into killing herself so that she'll be stuck there at the house. Because everybody knows if you die in murder house, you can't leave. Can't leave. That's it. So shortly after that, we see the fathers end up having a conversation with these detectives, and the detectives are talking about the 4 girls that got killed in the last episode and all of that. And now Scarlett is kind of a suspect. She's a suspect. And because they showed with the cell phone records, basically, that Scarlett was telling them to come past the house. And of course, we got the legend of Murder House and all of this. Everything is all roads lead back to Murder House and to Scarlett. And they're asking her after the detectives, they put the detectives out. They're like, we're not talking no more unless we get some legal representation and everything, because you're just going to try to twist up what we're saying. We ain't having it. Get out. So they put them out, and then they say to Scarlett, is there something you want to tell us? Is there something you want to tell us? Scarlett denies everything, basically, and then tells them, maybe the ghost did it. And goes on. She go on about her business. And is like, okay, and they're kind of looking at each other. And they're like, what is that all about? Here, meanwhile, there has been some arguments going on inside the house between the 2 fathers. The cute father has been seeing ghosts. And the other father, he's like, child, you losing your mind. Ain't nothing going on here. He still is a non-believer of the power of the murder house. And there's money problems going on in the house, whereas the renovations are really taking more time and costing more money, so they can't really start doing the stuff that they were planning on doing with the house, as far as like renting out rooms and doing the Halloween parties and the scare parties and all of that. So all of that's going on, and it's just, things are really a mess, and it's straining on their relationship. Anyway, so let's talk about Scarlett and the ghost setting. Here, the four girls, the ghosts of the four girls, naturally they're in the house. These four are pissed because Scarlett done killed them in the house. They're pissed. And they're plotting, they're like, we are going to kill this bitch, and she going to be up in here with us, and we just going to keep killing that bitch for eternity. We are going to go at it. That is what we're going to do. But this bitch is not going to walk around this house and be alive, and we just be in here terrorizing her. No, we're going to get her. But Ruby ain't having it, honey. Ruby was like, they was up there talking about they was going to get her, trying to get her. Honey, Ruby showed up, baby, got the throwing knives around, honey, and told them, if you touch her, if you bother her at all, I'm going to make your life here a living hell, worse than it already is. And then they show a scene where Ruby had done grabbed one of the girls already and peeled her goddamn face off like she was peeling an orange. And they was giving, so Ruby is a badass, okay? So basically that's it. Scarlett is pretty much protected, okay? So that's that. Now, Troy, y'all gave me the names because y'all know I was saying the cute dad versus the not so cute dad. Troy is basically the not so cute dad, and Michael is the cute one, okay? Michael got a sixth sense, pretty much. Michael he's more, because there are people who are hypersensitive to spirits and stuff. So spirits, they are scared. When I say terrorizing the shit out of Michael, terrorizing him because they know he can see them, but he is alive. He's hypersensitive to it, whereas Troy isn't. And as we get into it, Michael is an innocent, basically, and this is just me going even deeper into it. Michael is an innocent. Troy has a bit of a sadistic nature himself, and he's pretty much an evil bastard. So that's, as we go forward, we start to, he's, they ain't terrorizing him. They're going after the innocent and causing problems. Anyway, so that's that. And that's the thing about Murder House. Most people who are dead that's there are angry, or there's like people that are there that are angry that they died there and they're stuck. There's other people that are there that are just always afraid because they done got fucked up, and they just is like, oh, this is jacked up child. And they're just running in fear. Like that nurse, that child, she just in fear, honey, and getting fucked up over and over and over again, honey. She's an innocent. She was an innocent. She was a good person. She's a nurse. She was a good person. But them sadistic ones, honey, they just be in there getting off on terrorizing the other people. And then if they could terrorize people on the other side, oh, they really just be getting off on it, child. So anyway, moving on. So, the dads are ending up talking to the counselor. They're talking to the counselor, okay? And I'm like, okay, this is weird. They're having a whole session with the counselor. And I'm like, how is it that they're able to see her? But I guess, I say, I don't know. I'm just following the story. I'm like, whatever, Ryan. I don't know why they're able to see her, but they're having this whole thing with her. And they're talking back and forth, and they're arguing, and she's telling them about, Michael saying, I just think that is some danger going on here, and we need to wrap things up and move it along, for the safety of us and of Scarlett, the way things is coming back. This is just all just too much. It's a mess. So the counselor, when Michael said that he was seeing some other ghosts, and Troy was saying, no, you're not. Just cut that shit out. You are not. It's stop it. That's crazy. That's crazy. You're not seeing other ghosts. So that's that. So the counselor, she got real leery of it and was like, let me get him out of here because I'm a ghost. But they himself. So she said, I'll let myself out. And she goes on. Of course, they start into something else. Now we see Troy And he done hired this contractor, okay? So the contractor is there, and um, he's sharp. He was really, really cute. And Troy was flirting with him. He was saying, I've been bleeding my daughter's college fund, and my husband doesn't know it. To try to do some of these renovations, but we got to get this off the ground. He wants to give up on everything. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not doing that. So Michael, and he was like, I'll do anything to get this together. We can make a deal. He's like, I'll literally get on my knees, and work this out with you. And I said, oh, look at her flirting, honey, little nasty thing. And Michael done walked in on the flirting, honey, and told him, he says, you know what? Getting on your knees and giving blowjobs, that's a whole lot of blowjobs. That's not going to work to get things done that we need done here. He's like, oh, no, no, no. We'll work something out, because he's like, it'll work for my business, to be able to say that I did the renovations in this house and all that. So we'll work out something really, really cool. And don't worry about the flirt. He's like, I'm straight anyway, so don't worry about that. So after that, the contractor leaves, and then them two get into it. Troy and Michael get into it, and he tells Troy, this is when we found out. Troy said, you are cruel. You're cruel, and you really do take solace in being cruel and inflicting pain on other people. And then you try to make it seem like, oh, it was just innocent flirting. But really, all in all, you know that it hurts me when you do it, and you get off on it. You get off on the fact that you're hurting me. You are a cruel individual. I said, okay, so this is what's going on. I said, this is why Michael's more of an innocent, and Troy is more of a sadistic bastard. So, he just got a little evil in him. So he's easily won with the house, and the house is terrorizing Michael, because Michael's scared anyway. So that was that. So the next thing we end up seeing, there is time goes on. Now the contractor's working on the house. There is a Hispanic worker that's what he's like, something is really stinking in this one room. Remember the room where Scarlett was working is where Scarlett then put the girls in the wall, the 4 girls in the wall. Child is stinking, because Scarlett don't know what she's doing. So it's stinking. Child, so the contractor dude goes, he busts the wall down, baby, and there's the girls are in there. Now, this is him and Troy and the Hispanic guy. So he busts the wall down, and Troy is standing back by the doorway. The Hispanic man standing in between him and the other contractor, the cute contractor. And he turns around, and they see the girls in the wall just all dead. So the Hispanic man is like, oh my God. And he goes to turn around, like going to run out of the room. By this time, Troy is like, oh my God. He turns around and takes the sledgehammer and cold cocks the goddamn Hispanic contractor. And he's like, He bludgeons him to death. And he's like, why did you do that? He's like, listen. Oh, and before that, wait, let me tell you what happened before that. Before that happened, we seen this, everything was going. He'd been working on the house. Chez was down in the basement. And Troy was sucking him off. Troy had already started. Troy been sneaking around and screwing around on him, and then told him, there's problems in the marriage, this, that, thing, and the other. And the guy's like, I'm straight. I don't really care about all that. But I do like you sucking me off. So, we'll just keep doing it. I said, you need to keep doing more of that. Keep on having sex with me as much as possible, so that your husband doesn't feel like y'all having a problem, and everything be fine. We got this. It's cool. So then he ends up bludgeoning the man to death. The man's laying on the floor. By this time, Michael comes in. Michael's like, oh my God, what the hell is going on here? He ends up, the contractor dude, ends up telling him, listen, I'm protecting all of us here, but now we're all in this together. He said, you got 4 dead girls in the wall. He was going to go and tell the police. Michael's like, I'm getting ready to call the cops. He's like, no, you're not. Blackmails them. What we're getting ready to do is we're going to continue. He said, I'm going to put them up in here. We're going to put some lime back there, and it's going to be fine. And we just going to move it right on along. That's what we're going to do. Said your little sadistic killing ass daughter, she going to have to take care of some things, you know, and that's that. Now wait, and I got to go back. I got to go back because I skipped something. When Michael and Troy were having a conversation about the flirting and all that, Ruby was in the hallway and overheard it. Ruby was in the hallway. She overheard it and she walked off and looked like she had some type of sinister plan. And that was that. And she kind of like, that was that. And then we moved into this scene. You know, after that, some time went by and we started seeing that, you know, all of this other stuff was happening. So, oh, and again, like I said, like how we know that Scarlett has become one with the house. That's why she could see the ghosts and all that. So that was cool. Okay, so look, all this is getting ready to come together. Just keep on following me. So he blackmails them and tells them, listen, we all are in this together because we all know. And we're going to cover this back up. And then this is what it is. I'm really down bad on my luck. So we just going to all do what we do. I'm losing everything. We're going to be here. I don't want to share a room with you all. I don't want to share a room with you all. But I definitely want to be up in this whole marriage thing with y'all, per se. He said, I don't want to share a room with you. Y'all got all that. But I definitely want to have free reign on some mouth and some ass up around here. Both of y'all. I said, oh, no, he didn't, honey. I said, oh, he's a hot mess. Hot mess. Hot mess. So, at this point, he blackmailed them. Michael ends up, he said, bullshit. Michael takes and knocks the damn sledgehammer out of his hand, grabs him like a little bitch, honey, and grabbed him by his hair, baby, and flung him around and told him, get your ass out of my house. And he goes to dragging him. He drags him to the front door. Dragging him. Troy's like, don't do that. No, we need him. No. Drags him to the front door and told him, sissy, get on out of here. And basically went to go put him out. As he goes to throw him out the door, he opens the door. Baby, the man in the black rubber suit is standing at the door and shanks the shit out of the contractor dude. When he opened the door and Michael went to go push him out the door, the guy in the black suit said, I said, oh, no! Fucked him up. Okay? Fucked him up. He was like, oh. I said, well, she's not going anywhere. She'll be there. Juked him down. Michael's like, oh my God. So naturally, they break out and they run. Michael and Troy are running through the house. And they're like, oh my God. And he's like running and they're trying to get out. And he's like, was that Scarlett? He's like, no, that's not Scarlett. There was a man in that damn suit. That was not Scarlett. And they're running and then it all hits Michael. It hits Michael all at one time. They get in the kitchen and they're getting ready to run out. And they start seeing like other little stuff. Michael stopped and it hit him and it was like a Sixth Sense moment. And he's like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. And he's standing there and then it clicks. It's an aha moment and it plays back. And it shows him going back over it. And he's like, wait a minute, Troy. And he explains to Troy what happened. Because their memories have been jogged. Their memories had just been like, they've been frozen. You know, in the counselor ended up explaining this to them later on. How, you know, your mind will freeze memories to protect you. And this was borrowed from like The Others. This happened in the movie The Others. Sixth Sense. So it was right in with that. So, you know, I was all in my joy because it was two of my favorites. These two are deader than shit and had no idea. No idea. So Michael ends up, Michael's been like the soft one. Michael, he just took it like this is fucked up. I can't believe this. We are dead. And he had looked, he was like, yeah, he remembered how it happened. Ruby killed them. Ruby came in the room and in their bedroom, and she Troy was laying on the bed, and he said, hey, who are you? You're a friend of are you a friend of Scarlett's? And she just jumped on the bed and just shanked him out. And Michael ran out of the bathroom, and she just slit his throat. So she killed them both. Her whole point was she killed them. She did have a sinister plan. She killed them so the fathers are now stuck in the house. Scarlett definitely ain't going to leave her fathers. So she would have Scarlett. Because she don't have a heart to hurt Scarlett. She's not going to kill Scarlett. Because then Scarlett won't love her. Scarlett will be mad at her. But she ain't going to leave her fathers at the house. So that was that. That was the plan. And she just left it like that. And nobody knew she did it. She just said somebody did it. So that was what that was. But that explained back a few days, that explained why they were able to see the counselor. They were already dead. She realized they didn't know they were dead. And that's why she ended the session and she rolled on out. So they've been dead literally for most of this episode. I said, oh, so that, I loved that whole part. And I was like, good, Ryan, because I was getting ready to start questioning. I was getting ready to start reading and dragging like, ain't making no sense. But it made sense. It pulled it all full circle like 6 cents. Loved it. Anyway, so that was that. Again, and this, I've told you all before, Murder House was one of my favorite seasons because it just kind of opened up the door to how Ryan Murphy writes and how he does things. And I was able to grasp it, and I kind of like the way he gets down. So we was right back there. So I'm enjoying myself at this point. So anyway, once they explain to Scarlett that they're dead and all of this, of course she's a little pissed. She gets to talk shit to him because that's what she does. She talks shit. Telling them, well, child, I'm emancipated because they ain't like y'all can't tell me what to do. She said it was Halloween. She said, I'm going out to a party. They like, no, you can't be going out and this. He said, baby, you can't tell me what to do, honey. I can leave. Y'all can't. And being as though y'all are dead, honey, I'm emancipated. I said, oh, this little bitch, honey. So she ends up finding out Halloween is the one day of the year that the people in the house are allowed outside of the house. But they be thrown right back into the house after Halloween is over. But they're allowed to walk freely on Halloween. So she's like, okay, so Ruby's like, yeah, I'm going to the party with you. She going to the party in her plastic suit, right? Her latex suit. Ruby got her little mask that looks like, what is that movie? The Visitors, it's a little ugly, scary looking mask. Horrible. It's like a real blank stare mask. Yeah. Anyhow, I can't think of the name of the movie, but it's sticking in there. It's right on the tip of my tongue, but I can see the whole cover for the DVD and all. But anyway, but she had that little dumb mask on. She ends up, the girls are plotting now about killing Scarlett during Halloween. They're like, we're allowed outside too. We are going to kill Scarlett. Yes, we are. We're going to get her, honey. We're going to get her. And that's that. So now as they're at the party, she runs into Shanti, her friend Shanti. Ruby meets Shanti. Of course, Ruby is kind of jealous. So she ends up hurting Shanti's feelings. And then Shanti goes off by herself. Ruby goes down and sees Shanti, and she talks to her. And she, well, she didn't talk to her first, but she's off by herself. Her and Scarlett talked. And then she told Scarlett, I don't want to be your friend anymore because the way that you just kind of left me hanging, she's like, I don't have those, you have like serial killer tendencies, girl. Nothing bothers you. She's like, I'm not made that way. I really needed you. I needed my friend when all this was going on. I've lied to the police. I've lied to these people's parents and all of that. When I know for a fact, I know you did it. I don't know how you did it, but I know you did it. And I've been walking around lying to people, and you didn't even think enough of me to make sure that I was all right. And I've been keeping your secrets. And when you weren't coming to school, I've been keeping your secrets. I've been keeping you out of jail and all of this. And you just thought nothing of me. Like you didn't even care. I don't want to be your friend anymore. So she ends up walking away from her. She's crying and stuff down in the park. Here come the girls. The girls roll up on her. Of course, they're all mean girls. So they gonna kill Ruby because that's their whole plan. They're all mad and mean anyway. So they're out killing people at the party anyway. But they said, yeah, so you knew and you ain't tell. Oh, you gotta pay. So they was planning on killing her. Baby and Ruby showed up and told them she's the same as Scarlett. She's Scarlett's friend. If y'all touch her, I'm jacking your asses up. I'm gonna peel y'all's faces back. And they was like, okay, all right, girl, we'll leave her ass alone. So they're like, all right. So they get down there. Then Ruby shows back up. Then there's like this whole little thing back and forth. They're going back and forth. And the four girls tells her, she said, you know what? We're not thinking about you out here. It's okay if you want to peel our face back, but we're going to get you because, see, we're not at the house. And we're going to kill her while we're down here. So she won't be coming back to the house. And you'll be stuck in the house and y'all won't be together. And then so we'll have gotten back at both of you all. So we're going to kill her. Ruby thought about it. Ruby was like, shit, okay. And she was like, run, Scarlett, run. So that was her thing. So Scarlett's like running. Ruby's fighting with them. They're running and carrying on. That one Asian girl that was with them, she ends up running into her brother at the party. She stopped chasing. They talk to her brother, explains to him, tell him, you can't really tell our parents exactly what's happening. Just tell them that my body can be found at that murder house, that my body is there. And, yeah. And there's like, well, ask who killed him. And they took it off of Scarlett, and the brother said, tell them that it was a girl named Ruby. Ruby, and she gave her whole name and said, I'm the one that did it. And tell them they could find me here at the house too. So literally, because that was one of the things, that some people who actually bought the house, some evil ass people who bought the house, Ruby killed herself and left a suicide note. The people buried her in the backyard and burned the letter, all to be able to sell the house. So nobody was able to actually find her and avenge her death either. So her uncle still was living fine and carefree. And she was gone. Nobody knew what happened. She just disappeared. So Ruby told the brother, tell him that Ruby killed her and you could find her body there. So that way, whoever was looking for her could find her too. And avenge her death or whatever. Not so much avenge her, but she just wouldn't have gone missing. So at that point, Scarlett comes back and they're like, night's not totally over. They kind of like make amends, and she's like, listen, I know what I did to y'all was kind of wrong, but I was messed up about what y'all did. Y'all screwed my life up. And they're like, that was kind of terrible. So they're all teenage girls. So they kind of just all made up, so to speak. They made up. And she basically told Ruby, I am basically breaking up with you. And you need to, y'all all need to promise me that y'all just need to let me go in here. Y'all done killed my father. You killed my fathers and all of this. Y'all need to let me go in the house, pack up my things, and be able to go and nobody kill me before I come back out. And let me go ahead and live my life. And they're like, okay, well, it's all a fair trade-off because Ruby will get paid back because now she can't have you. And we're going to get found anyway. And so everything kind of worked its way out kind of in the macabre kind of way. And they were like, okay, now I was sitting here like, they are not going to let you get your stuff, honey. When you get ready to leave, somebody's going to get you, girl. And I said, it's probably going to be the man in the black suit. Is going to get your ass, honey. But whatever. So she ended up going in the house, explain everything to her dads, and they're like, okay, And she's like, I mean, I got money. You know, y'all are dead in the house, so I got money. I'll be fine. You know, whatever. So they're like, okay. She did get out of the house. She went on, and we see 10 months later, she ends up um, in this car. And she's like staking out, and we see the uncle and Ruby now. Hey, Ruby got her hair slicked back, baby. I said, oh, she looking like a killer, baby. It's slicked back. And she's like, yeah, she on the cell phone. She like, yeah, I'm outside of his house right now. This, that, thing, and the other. And I made sure I stole some of his mail and everything to make sure that it was really him. I'm like, what? Then I went and found the uncle. And she told her, she said, I'm going to go do him, honey. I'm just going to tell him this is going to be his last day on earth. So she's like, all right, send me pictures. Honey, she went right on over there, baby, knocked on the door, took a sledgehammer, honey, and bashed his ass down, honey, and tore the uncle up. I said, oh my. And then they go back and we see where Ruby's like sitting there. She's like, one day a year, I'm able to come out of the house. She said, and nobody ever comes up to the house. Everybody's scared of Murder House, so nobody ever comes up to the house for candy or ring the bell or anything on Halloween. She said, but there's always one person that comes to the house, and she says, and I'm always sitting in the window waiting on her to show up. And we see Scarlett show up to the house, and they basically have their little date night on Halloween, every Halloween. Child, it was just too much, honey. I said, okay. So this, like I said, so that literally put a little bow on the story of Ruby and Scarlett and the murder house. So now, next week, it'll be episode 3. It won't have nothing to do with this. We'll be on to something else. So I'm excited to see where are we going next. So I'm like, yeah, I'm here for this. I'm here for this. I've seen I've seen some comments on my last video, and I've also gotten some emails. There's some people that are really not happy with this. They do not like the direction of this. Listen, just chill. Just chill. Let this be what it is. The regular American Horror Story is coming back in, I believe, August. I think it's the end of August. So you're not losing anything. This is something, and it's basically like to hold us over until we get where we're going. But this is not taking the place of the regular American Horror Story. This is really good, y'all. Just give it a chance. I like it. I like it. It's eerie. It's got its little spooky moments. It's not as rough as regular American Horror Story. Some people who love, because I have people who literally like to watch my reviews on American Horror Story, but they can never actually watch the show because the show is just too much for them. I think some of those people will be able to sit through some of these because they're not as, American Horror Story goes in. But I don't know. I like it. I like it. For now, we riding with it. Child, I hope y'all keep on watching. This is so weird. Me trying to talk y'all into watching the show. Generally, it's y'all trying to make me stay with a show that I don't want to stay with. But this is okay, y'all. Chill out. The real one, the real AHS is coming back in August. So just chill out. Just chill out. We're riding this. We're going to ride this ride. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all next week for episode 3. Later.